plaintiff, Tanya Mitchell, was married to the defendant's brother, and she supported Tanya when he would abuse her or disappear on a drug binge. Tanya's suing her sister-in-law today for an unpaid loan. Defendant Monique Jones says she and Tanya have always been close, and the only issue she has with her is that she never lets Monique get off the phone. Monique insists she never borrowed any money from Tanya.
Start with you.
I've been knowing Monique for over 30 years. I was married to her brother. And me and Monique had been close because her brother was a heroin addict. Whenever he didn't come home, he was on those benches, I called Monique. Monique, your brother didn't come home. She said, baby, I'm so sorry. Do you need anything? I said, yes. Monique would come buy groceries, help pay bills because her brother was so bad on heroin, she knew that he didn't pay the bills. He would jump on me. First time he jumped on me, who'd I call? Monique. So one day Monique walked in my house after he jumped on me. And Monique said, I'm telling you, my brother's on those drugs real bad. And heroin is nothing to just kick off. She said, he's abusing you. And you stand with my brother on heroin. You abusing your children. So you need to get away from him and move away.
Were you strong enough to take her advice and leave?
I did leave.
Good.
I'm kind of her was my strength and my rock. And that was her brother, and I didn't feel that she'd tell me anything wrong. Yes, I took her advice.
Good. And what is he?
He's deceased.
Okay.
He deceased last year, September 30th of 2018.
All right. We'll get to the loan. A lot of people don't appreciate folks enough to say the things you said, particularly when you're suing them.
Because
so that says a lot for you. I'm saying that says a lot for you because when people sue, they're usually mad with the other person. And you showing your gratefulness and appreciation for her says a lot for you, says a lot about you. Go ahead, ma'am. Let me hear from you.
Tanya was my sister-in-law, and yes, we had a great relationship. There we were close the whole time that she was with my brother, and afterwards we were close. We never had a crossword between us. The only problem I ever had with my sister-in-law was she would let you get off the phone. She would call you, and don't let her have had something to drink, because you could go put the phone down, go wash some clothes, come back, pick up the phone. You go do, I can get my dishes done now. Come back, Tanya's still talking on that phone. That's the only problem, seriously, I've ever had with my sister-in-law. And yes, I love her.
And I love you.
Tell me about your brother's life.
And she's right about my brother. My brother was my baby brother. I always had to take care of James. We were only 5 years apart, but he was always kind of needy and mama's boy. And you do this for him, you do this, everything from walking into school to doing his homework all the way through. You know, you had to do this for James.
Pampered him.
Yeah, so he was on drugs for...
At what age?
James probably got hooked about 17.
On heroin?
And he never got away.
Where did you all live?
We lived in Indianapolis, Indiana. We lived in we grew up in a nice neighborhood. And
how do you think he got addicted? Who was he hanging? What crowd? How did he get with the wrong crowd?
Because it's always peer pressure. It's always wanting to be hip.
And where were his peers?
Same.
In the neighborhood?
Right.
And a lot of people in the neighborhood were hooked on heroin?
And he looked up to the drug dealers.
Yeah, and a lot of them were in the neighborhood, I guess. That's my point.
You look up to the people who have the cars. And
my point is, were they in the neighborhood?
They were right there. We all were in the
Okay, well, I don't know how good of a neighborhood that was, I guess. My point is, if it was full of drugs and drug addicts.
Let me say this neighborhood was a nice neighborhood because there were families who were persisting in spite of the drugs.
I got
So
you.
we can't discount us who were still going, some of us still going to school, and some of us still going to church, and some of us still trying to keep those people from drugs.
All right. What else you want to tell me about your brother? He started at 17.
And so yes, and so he did make everybody's life
Did he ever
hard.
go to rehab?
Yeah, he was in and out.
Defendant Monique Jones says her brother was married to the plaintiff. And the plaintiff admits Monique supported her when her husband physically abused her and went on drug binges.
All right. Tell me about the loan.
Okay, Monique came to me December the 10th, 2018. She said, Tanya, I have some bills, and if you can loan me $1,200, I will make sure you get your money back in March. So I went, she came, and she took me to the bank December the 10th, and I drawed out $2,000 cash. Gave her 12, and I kept the 8 and handed it to her in her car. And I said, Monique, I'm gonna need this money back because I'm moving by next year. She said, baby, don't worry about it. Okay. I called her about my money. She picked up her phone and hung up on me. I had called her all this year. Okay. She wouldn't answer the phone for me.
Okay. Ma'am?
Absolutely not did any of that happen. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I have never asked to borrow money from you to pay my bills. On 12, the date that you're talking about, 12 happened on 12/6, we went to the bank. Tanya, I
You
collected.
did go to the bank.
Yes,
So some of that did happen.
yes.
All right. You just said none of it happened.
None of the conversation.
So far, the first thing you told me did happen. Now go ahead. What else?
I collected $1,200 from Tanya to pay my brother's cremation fee, which she promised me she would pay. Before there were any other funeral expenses, when I found out that, let her know that she was the beneficiary, I said, I've already paid a lot of things. The $1,200 will have to be paid back because that came from his estate. That's what she agreed to pay, that $1,200.
I'm missing something. When you have an estate, how do you pay something back to it?
Well, that's because it was a check. It was paid from James's account. The
By whom?
$1,200.
By whom?
By me.
Okay. And she told you, I assure
And I
you, I'll
told
pay the
her at the very
$1,200?
beginning. Yes, I told her.
Okay.
Here's the bill
Let's
for
see
the
it, please.
$1,200. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is the bill. And you have any proof that she agreed to pay you, ma'am?
I only have her word.
Okay. And she has proof that she gave you the money. And she says it was a loan. She sounds very concise in her description of what occurred. You sound very inconsistent and inconcise. All right. Judgment for the plaintiff. I believe you. Don't believe her. Have a good day.
Thank you.
No, she's lying now. She's absolutely lying. She's absolutely
That's why
lying.
I won,
I would
'cause I
never
told the
take
truth.
anything from her whatsoever. I never went to her and said, please give me some money to pay my bills. I have not needed her to pay my bills.